Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. I needed to clean that camera. I couldn't see a thing. How are you this morning? Hey, Nomit1234. Good to see you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, JFar123456. What a handle. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Come into the room. Please share with your followers. Hey, at Bangerman. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Sir. Hey, Official Jinx. Good morning. I have. Good morning. Hey, Ray 2029. Hey, Stoppy Top Joint. Hello. Good morning, everyone. We're talking about our word of the day. I'm going to wait for some people for my squad to get in the room this morning if they're out there. It's very early, so I'm starting to scope a little earlier because I'm going to be my own boss soon. Hello, it's afternoon there. Okay, good afternoon. Hey, the Shadow, where are you from? Hey, the Shadow 305. Good morning. Where are you from that it's afternoon there? Good morning, everyone. Or good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How about that? Belgium? Hello, good afternoon from Belgium. Good evening from Europe? Good evening from Europe. Yes. So excited that you guys are in the room. This is Dr. Eve Angel Savage over at Audacity Group Social Enterprise, and I teach individuals to identify, initiate, and implement strategies of distinction for investment readiness in business. Yes, and I am teaching individuals the basic terminology of understanding investment readiness, and our word of the day is benchmarking. And how are you measuring the processes or your performance in business? Hey, Faith Builder, good to see you in the building. Invite your followers. Hello, Joanne Neal. Thank you for joining. Please invite your followers and share on Twitter. We're talking about benchmarking and what that means and whether you are measuring the performance in your company. How are you measuring performance? I have just a few minutes before I take off and take my little girl to school. Hey, Coach Donna. Good morning. Good morning. Benchmarking is the word of the day. We're talking about how are you measuring the performance in your company? And I want to share a little story. Please share with your followers. Share on Twitter. I appreciate you. Thank you. And thank you. I'm going to be sharing. Thank you, Coach Donna. Thank you so much. I think we all need to know this word. We all need to know benchmarking because it is something that will need to be consistent in our processes of business. Hello, good morning. Thank you. Up early this morning. Being an official transition to CEO. Thank you. Up early, rise. Yeah, I'm transitioning pretty well, getting up early, making it happen, getting those things done that I think need to be done, and scoping, because I need to scope earlier so that I can make sure that I'm not in front of my mirror all day long. So, scope addicted earlier. Are you? Okay, a lot of people are. It's a great thing. Live streaming is a wonderful thing, but especially when you use it wisely. So we're talking about benchmarking this morning and what that means. And for those of you who are familiar with a new community building project that we're doing with Pass the Biz, I'm going to try and explain this word best by using that particular project as a story, as a way of teaching the concept. When we first started Pass the Biz is a community building project where we invite other entrepreneurs to come aboard and scope with us and provide the support that each of us need to grow in our businesses, because we are constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly implementing new processes to help us grow in our business and be more professional, be grow financially, scalable, all of those great things. And so when we first implemented Pass the Biz, we realized that there were a lot of glitches, right? So there's always going to be glitches. The most important thing is when you know that there are, you have to, develop benchmarks. Benchmarks help you measure whether your processes are improving, and they help you to eliminate those things that aren't working. So let's go back to the word. Benchmarking is the process through which companies measure its products, its services, hello there, and practices against some of the toughest competitors. Now, what we know about Pass the Biz is not a new. It's not new. The name is ours, but the concept is not new. There are a lot of people who are passing the scope, passing the cast, periscoping. A lot of different groups out there are doing this community building type of project. Are loans the only way? No, sir. Angel investment is a great way to invest, for someone to invest in you, but we're going to stay on topic. We're talking about benchmarking, and then at the end, if you have that question, I'll be glad to answer that for you. So what we realized is that there were some issues that needed to be ironed out. So in the second week, we said, okay, what do we need to do differently? So we strategized and looked at how we could build our community to include more people. We needed more moderators. We needed more, so we reached out to our audiences to see who wanted to pitch in to provide moderation, because two people could not do it alone. One person is not an island. Two people couldn't do it alone. It's a community. Everyone plays a part. So as a result, that next week we've seen a increased improvement in our processes. Let me go back to last week. Okay, so then the second week we saw gaps, right? All these gaps. And so passing the baton or passing the scope is something that's a consecutive process that people need to be in place to pass it. And then if you have a gap, have a blocked gap, right? So we knew we needed to improve that process. So what we did was we looked at the administrative part of it, or I looked at the administrative side of it, and I worked hastily to make sure that I only had some blocks, or that even if there was a vacancy, that I jumped in and filled it so that it was filled and not left vacant. But the one thing I didn't want to do was leave it so that people thought that it was perfect, because this is a very, very teachable moment to understand how you improve the processes. So then the next week, the third week, which was last week, which was absolutely outstanding, even though it still had its flaws. So again, remember, we are improving on the processes every single week. So last week we had more people. The energy was amazing, and people actually began to teach more. Instead of just engaging with our consumers, we added value at a whole nother level. So the value was added in terms of teaching a concept, which if we're going to have a group, then we have to provide some value, right? Hello, I Speak Truth. Glad you joined us. We're talking about benchmarking. So then at the end, I decided, okay, well, I'm going to improve this even more. I want to build a marketing campaign for Pass the Biz. So last week I designed a marketing campaign, and then I used the structure. Good morning. I used the structure of it all to thank people on last week. But what's great about that is now I can use the marketing tools that I developed ongoing, right? So now, one of the things that I found about last week that was difficult for me was too many administrative tasks. so I had to figure out how was I going to have a self-booking process so that I would not have to be booking all day, canceling and deleting, replacing, and all of those good things. So this week, you guys, I have implemented, and I'm so happy and proud of myself because this is so the concept of benchmarking. And I improved it by adding a book yourself kind of calendar in there. So I no longer have to book it and send out emails and all that administrative stuff. You get a real-time response. You book yourself, you go to the site, you book yourself, you see the times that are available, and if it's blocked out, it's not available. You see the time that's available, you click on it, you book yourself, you get a real-time response and a thank you immediately. You don't have to wait to figure out whether I received it or not, because you're going to get a real-time response. That's benchmark and process improvement at its best. So I didn't know any other way to explain that except to show you a real live situation. And most of the time when you're teaching something, to people learn best through some story or some example. Like I told you all when we started this whole process of Pass the Biz, that you have a main idea, you have some evidence to support it, you add some value, and then you lead to your something else, right? So we're talking about benchmarking, the word of the day. I gave you a great story on how that process takes place. And let's go just a little bit deeper, because I think it's important. I want you all to be talking about what you're doing to benchmark in your businesses. And I want you to give me examples. If you've not scoped about this concept, I want you to scope about it. I want you to tell me how your processes are improving, because that lets me know and it lets others know that what we're teaching you is working. It's just some content that you can add to your content calendar. You can write about it and connect to it. And if you want to, I'll take a look at it. It's fine. So it's the best tool of determining. Benchmarking is the best tool for determining whether the company is performing particular functions and activities efficiently. So my story aligned perfectly with the definition of this particular word of the day. Whether its costs are in line with those of the competitors, and whether its internal activities and business processes need improvement. And of course, this particular community building project needed some improvement. And it will probably, I'm going to find more and more over time. But right now we're doing well. Week 1, we grew. Week 2, week 3, we see the progress. We see now that there's a movement developing. The numbers are growing. We're going to see how this week, how we do. And I'm going to come back again and I'm going to tell you about whether that benchmarking process is working. I talked to you yesterday also about business to business as a concept was our word of the day yesterday, and business to consumer. Well, benchmarking does focus on company to company comparisons and how well you are performing compared to other companies. Remember I told you earlier how Pass the Biz is not Pass the Biz is new, but the concept is not new, because there are other companies that are doing this same thing. And so you have to figure out how to improve. And so we have done that. And so you're going to be looking at the hows. You're going to be looking at the what, the when, the where, all of those things to measure your benchmarking. There's so many wonderful ways of looking at the benchmarking basics. And the goal, what is the goal? Is to identify the weaknesses within your organization and improve upon them. Where are the weaknesses and improve upon them? Last week, my weakness was in administrative tasks. I do not have enough arms to handle Pass the Biz all day long. So we need our group to do that. We need mentors. We need moderators. We need leaders. all of you are leaders. All of you are a part of this because you are a leader. So this is not just a I thing. This is a we thing, which means that we must increase the opportunities for the leaders in the group. So we improve upon the weaknesses that we have. So we make it the best of the best. We don't want to be second rate, but we want to make it the best of the best. So it is an awesome opportunity right now. That's why I improved on last week on how we went out by thanking those people who were a part of Pass the Biz in a way that was, awesome and pleasing. I enjoyed it, and people have responded very well to it. So improve upon those processes and turn them into opportunities of improvement, and we've done that. So benchmarking is a broad strategic process. Remember that, a broad strategic process, and there's always going to be ways to look at how you benchmark within your company. And I really, really hope that you are going to share this out to your friends, share this with your other company owners and or colleagues, because this is a very, very important process. For those of you who were not able to meet me here at 7:30 this morning, thank you for joining on the replay. Thank you for hearting it up. Remember that in our community, we support one another. We tap, tap, tap. If you're not commenting or moderating, you are tapping the screen and providing some support so that we know that we are adding value to you as a scoper, as an entrepreneur. The other thing I wanted to say was I want to thank my highest mentioner yesterday, and that was Miss Angelique Jefferson. Thank you so much. You were my highest contributor on yesterday, and every day I'll come before you and I will thank my highest contributor because I think it's important. You shout out your highest contributor, shout out those people who are adding value to me. Angelique, and Beauty Mixtress. So if you're not following them, they are two individuals who will give back to you. So while you're teaching them, they are engagers. So we want people to engage, but we also want to acknowledge who they are so that we can get people involved in individuals who are literally want to feed off of what you're doing and want to give back to you. Hey, Mr. CEO Ernie Perry, thank you for joining us. We're talking about benchmarking. You're going to have to catch it on the replay. This is my early morning scope, and I got to go take my daughter to driver's ed, you guys. This is the last one of my children. She's going to be 16 soon, and we're getting driver's ed in so I can sit on the passenger seat for about another 3 years and watch her grow in her driving skills as she prepares to go off to college. So very excited. Do you have any questions about benchmarking? Because I'm here to also not just to give you the word of the day, but help you to maybe incorporate the concept into what you are doing. Are there any questions that you have about benchmarking and how to incorporate the process in your business? Just so you know, a company that decides to undertake benchmarking initiatives should consider the following questions: when, why, who, what, and how. Extremely important. Benchmarking can be used at any time. That's your when. It can use any time. Why is the most important question, because the management's decision to begin the benchmarking process starts with why are we doing this, okay? Then who? Companies may decide to benchmark internally against competitors or against industry performance. You have to decide what type of benchmarking are you doing, and can you do all three? You certainly can. Okay, then there's your what. Benchmarking can focus on roles, it can focus on processes, and it can focus on strategic issues. Roles, processes, and strategic issues. How? Benchmarking uses different sources of information. It includes published material, trade meetings, conversations, industry experts. There's so many ways. Consultants, customers, marketing representatives, and the list goes on and on and on. So that is how, or some of the value that you can add to your business today by adding the benchmarking process. Please go back and catch the replay so you can catch the story, the real life story on benchmarking at its best with Pass the Biz. And for those of you who have not signed up for this week, please go over to bit.ly/Pass the Biz and go ahead and lock in and book your time, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. We improved on our processes this week, so you make sure you go lock in your time for this week. We don't want a whole lot of administrative tasks. It gives you everything you're supposed to do, and then you must cancel or reschedule 24 hours in advance. So excited to be. This is Dr. Evangel Savage over at Audacity Group Social Enterprise, where I thrive with that sapphire and amber pride. I am here to help you identify, initiate, and implement strategies of distinction for investment readiness in business. Why is benchmarking important? The investors are gonna want to know. So make sure that you are improving upon your processes every day. Have a great day.